Welcome to my weekly review. Today is Saturday, August 24th. The stock market is closed, obviously. You are taking a look at the Nasdaq, which has turned into kind of the lagging index, unfortunately, but it has had like 4 follow-through days since August 13th. If I could show you here on the 13th, it was up 2.43%, then had a rest day, then another follow-through day on the 15th of 2.34%, another rest day, and then a follow-through day on the 19th of 1.39% with a higher volume than the prior day. And then it kind of rested, traded sideways. And on Thursday, there was some caution ahead of Jerome Powell. The Federal Reserve Chairman spoke on Friday morning, so there was some profit taking. It traded down to its 50. You can see right there, closed 1% below, 0.1% below. Then on Friday, just had a quiet inside day, right? But it was actually another follow-through day with a 1.47% gain. It was up 258% with volume higher than the prior session. When the index goes down like 300 points in a day, I mean, that with the inverted hammer candle, you want to get half of that back the next day. So it was down 300. You want to get back 150. And it was able to accomplish that. It was up 258 points or 1.47%, closed at 17,877. So on Monday or next week, I'm looking for it to trade above this high of 18,017 that it hit on Thursday before reversing and heading lower. Like I said, it just had a nice quiet inside day, right? No, not quite. Every time Powell speaks, the market gyrates a lot, so I just went golfing. I knew I wasn't want to trade this mess, but you could see it opened higher, and then he spoke at 7 a.m. Pacific time, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then the thing reversed immediately. And thank God I wasn't watching this. It looks like a EKG of somebody having a heart attack. This thing's going all over the place. Up and down, up and down. Then finally, we got some buyers coming in. And like I said, it closed up 258 points. But this gyration stuff, you could really get whipsawed in that. And there's panic selling. I think that's partially what happened on Thursdays. The selling starts escalating and it goes further and further and further. People just want to panic sell and get out. And then they're buying the same stock back the next day at higher prices. So I just held my stuff and went golfing. The Nasdaq, you can see now, is 1.4% above its 50 simple moving average. I want to point out here that the green line, the 10, crossed above the 21, and looks like, if the Nasdaq cooperates, it's going to trade above the 50 next week. But it's not the strongest index. The SPY here is 2.7% above its 50. That's shaping up to be a nice consolidation pattern. The mid-cap stocks are a little stronger right now. You see a big move here yesterday, 2.17%, and now it's 4.1% above its 50 and nearing new highs. And then I've got to go to the IWM because we could have a change here with the rates coming in, as Powell has indicated, that maybe the small caps and the mid caps will be the leaders now. And we might have to change our thinking a little bit. Just take it one day at a time. But this index is 5.1% above its 50. And it had this 38% correction from July 31st. Excuse me. I've got to go to the TNA here. This is the one that I use for the Russell. 51.14 on July 31st down to 31.96 on August 5th, like 6 days of trading, and it went down 38%. So this thing is volatile, and that's kind of why I like it. I think if the small caps outperform, this one could be a big winner, but it's still got to get above the old high of 51.14. But a 38% correction in a very short period of time. Now we have this V-shaped recovery. And like I said, just take things one day at a time. I do have to get to the Dow Jones. I had a nice day, and now back above the $41,175 level. It still has to take out that 376 to make a new high, so it's very close. Could do that Monday. It was up 462 points or 1.14% on Friday. So anyway, that's the indexes. That's the bigger picture. I want to review. This is a weekly review, so I want to look at some of the stocks that reported earnings last week that had movement, not the ones that just stayed flat. But this is Zim, the shipping company on Monday reported, had a big move higher of 16, nearly 17%, got up near that old buy point, just sold off, closed below its 10 the last three sessions. So they had some big dividend as well, which Zim likes to pay these huge dividends. ANET, this is the electrical contracting manufacturing group with Sanmina and Jabil and Flex. Gap Tire, following its earnings report, 16% move, and now it's just kind of pinching in here and flagging. This is what you want to see when you have a big move in a stock. You don't want to take out the low of that day, the gap day, because then it gets into the gap. You don't want to fall into the gap, which was a 259.05. So that would be your get out point for me. Anyway, Palo Alto Networks reported on Monday. Nice report, had a nice response, but sold off back near its 10. It made a high of 375 on Monday, and you could see it did close below the 348 from Monday. It traded down to 346 on Friday, but did close a little above it. So maybe a little peekaboo, and then run next week. We'll have to wait and see. 344.48. So that would be a gap fill, down to its 10. That looks good to me for Palo Alto Networks. Lowe's reported, meh. It had a decent response, but people just aren't spending as much on home improvements, and they're doing other things with their money. Just a nothing burger report. Keys had a nice report, a nice response to the report, I should say, up 14%. We'll take that every time, and stayed above the low of that session, which was 152.23. And then Toll Brothers, this one got the home builders ripping, had a nice response up nearly 6%, and then rallied more on Friday. Within lower interest rates will help the housing market and some other areas, which I already mentioned. The small caps and mid caps probably benefit as well. And I'll get into that later on at my site. I've got some stocks that I'm targeting. Speaking of target, they had a nice report, but what happened? It ran up to what, 167.40, and then the next day closed, below, and then Friday it was up 1%. But yeah, you don't want it getting into this gap area. But anyway, nice response to their report. 43% earnings growth, which is good for Target. I think they've cured their shrinkage problem. Workday, I didn't know if that report was all that great. Decelerating earnings and sales growth, but Wall Street liked it. It was up 12.5%. So, Wall Street likes it. You got to take it. CAVA, this one was strange because I was watching it after hours. It had a ton of volume after hours on Thursday, and then Friday morning, there wasn't that much volume coming in, but man, as soon as it opened, this thing cracked wide open. You could see the big gap here of nearly 20%, closed at 122. But if I go to the 5-minute chart here, you can see this gap at the open, just gap and go, some profit taking into the close, but nice move for CAVA. 14% same store sales and triple digit earnings growth, accelerating sales growth. Wall Street likes that. So anyway, that's it. I do have to go through the perfunctory Mag 7, which these guys don't excite me in this environment. They'll probably do okay, but Apple just going sideways. Microsoft, these $3 trillion companies just forming a base here below its moving averages. Can't get excited about that. Then NVIDIA, they report earnings this week, had an inside day on Friday. I guess I got to go to Meta, it's above its moving averages, consolidating in a base. I kind of like this one more than some of the others in the Magnificent Seven. Anyway, I'm going to move on because I've got to get to some groups. Got a lot of stuff going on in the market, and I'm just going to point out some strengths, some stocks I like, some leading stocks. Transmedics Group just trading higher. This was on my ready list last week. I have to take it off though. It's just getting extended. It keeps making new highs. And if you own it, I mean, there's no sell signals here. It's just trending higher with its moving averages. If you look at the weekly chart, you can see the earnings line heading due north, the stock heading due north. So unless things change, you can see these big blue volume bars coming in. And let me see here. Yeah, we got the Lord Abbott. They got the Lord on their side. So, that's always a good thing. with the fund ownership. Anyway, I like another stock, Intuitive Surgical, one of our leading stocks. Once again, earnings line heading due north, more elective surgeries being done, and the stock is heading due north. Nice pullback to the 10 on Friday, so maybe an opportunity next week for ISRG. And then Lantheus, I like this, just a tick below 100, and now it's just, rallied right through it at 107.16 at close. So you can see the big move higher, the pullback to the 50, found support and now bouncing. So I do like that one above $100. Anyway, that's it for the medical stocks. I got to go to retail. Retail was the strongest group on Friday following Powell's, kind of announcement that, they're on path to lower rates. Good for retail. And I like retail, and I like this one here on holding. They guided 2 weeks ago, I believe, to 30% sales growth. We'll take that all day long, 23, 27, 30, triple digit earnings growth. So this one's setting up in a, double bottom base here. This one looks fantastic. Another one that I like in the group is CROX. Why do you like CROX? What's wrong with CROX? Well, it's just setting up in a base. Sold off real hard down to 112 following its earnings. Now going through this base here and forming the right side. You could see a pattern rec is picking that up. I would not wait to 165. I would get in here a little earlier, maybe around the 145 level. They hired Sydney Sweeney for their Hey Dude brand, and I think that's going to pay off for them. They're going to market towards females in the United States and Europe. So I think this stock might be on the turnaround. We'll have to wait and see the next few quarters. Abercrombie and Fitch, they report this week, so I shouldn't really even, I'm going to go over these later. Broke above a downtrend line, now trading above its 50. I'm going to get to that one later. Boot Barn, broke out of this base and then, reverse lower to 110 and now just blasted higher, kind of like the index where it, made that low on August 5th. Whoops, August 2nd. Where's August 5th? All right, so it reversed on August 5th right there. And now it's making new highs. So Boot Barn and BURL, and the retail sector, retail apparel, making new highs. Like I said, there's nothing to do here but just count your money. August 5th, it pulled back to its 50, found support, and it's, adios muchachos. It's making new highs. So see you later. If you didn't pick it up there, it's extended now. I wouldn't chase that. I wouldn't. You can, but I'm not going to. CSE, this one broke out of a base, straight up from the bottom, and it's not pulling back, which is a surprise. So maybe it will next week and allow these moving averages to catch up. You can get it closer to the 77 area, maybe to just pull back to 80, but definitely a strong move from SE. And then MELI is another one that we had on our ready list. SE and MELI we had on our ready list, and they just blasted off. So if you didn't get them, I can't chase these here. I do like this little flag pattern. I'm seeing a lot of stocks doing this. Last week the Nasdaq was just up a little bit, and some of these stocks pull back here, so it's kind of flagging. So around 2000 maybe. You can take a swing at that one. Okay, the air conditioning group, the most exciting group, air conditioning insurance. This is Modine. I had this on our ready list last week, around 109.53. Yeah, and it was up 10 points. So we'll take that all day long. Another one in this group is Train. They make high-end HVAC equipment. Still near this buy point here, that 351 area. I kind of like that one. And then CARR, had this on the ready list, and it's kind of a slower mover, so I took it off, but nice move on Friday of 2.5%. That's the HVAC group. And some of these software names, Cellbrite, this one, put it on our leading stock list. Nobody talks about it. It's very quiet, but just making new highs. So if you own it, there's nothing to do here but count your money and let these moving averages trend higher. That one looks good. OS looks good as well. OneStream, just a recent IPO, broke out of its IPO base and pulled back, had an inside day on Friday. What does that look like on the weekly chart? This is a weekly review. Yeah, just a couple of quiet weeks, and then boom, the last 2 weeks up 3% last week, and a move higher. It followed through a move of 5%. So OneStream computer software looks pretty decent. What else we have? Oh, service, now, yeah, just one of the larger ones. This one setting up near a buy point, just not moving. It's kind of like Spotify, just going sideways, driving me crazy. I have Spotify on our ready list, but phew, it's going higher. It's trending with its 10. It's just gradually, if you look at the weekly chart, it was up 1.5% last week, just like the index, but the earnings lines heading north, consolidation, consolidation, consolidation for Spotify. One day I have a feeling it'll break out. It's just playing up awesome right now. And if you don't have the patience or the discipline, you probably move on to something else. All right, that's it for the software names. Oh, I lied. ZETA is one that I like. And since it broke out of its base, it just pulls back a little bit. It pulled back here on August 5th down to its 21, climbed higher, then pulled back, made this little, bull wedge type pattern back to the 10, and then popped 5.5% on Friday. So another one of those software names that, it's got the earnings and sales growth. They've been reporting strong quarters. So ZETA, Zeta Global Holdings. All right, moving on from software. I mentioned the home builders are going to benefit. Pulte made a big move. I showed you Toll Brothers. What are the, oh, DHI, Horton's the one I like in the group, large liquid making new highs. Doesn't have the growth profile we look for, but maybe that's coming. A couple other ones that I'd like to show, of course, is Lennar, very similar to Pulte. This one's making new highs. NVR is, the $9,000 stock. It goes up $337 in a day. So yeah, that one is, trades 20,000 shares a day, but I mean, it's a $9,000 stock. So definitely qualifies for, the dollar. Okay, Redfin, this one was up 19% on Friday, just a move not to be ignored as it breaks out of this stage one base. If you look at, yeah, this looks like a turnaround here. Anyway, there might have been news on that, up 48% last week. I didn't really look into it. It just showed up on my screen. So if I dig deeper, maybe there was some news related. And then Green Grit Partners, this one broke out, but I mean, it had a stellar week, up nearly 13% on the week. So we'll take that all day long. All right, the insurance, I did mention insurance. I'm just gonna go through a couple. Heritage Insurance, this one broke out. Now it's making this little flag type pattern. You got to watch these because, they break out and then there's some selling coming in and then the institutions come in and buy them and drive it higher. Look at this big volume move here. So that flag interests me. FNF, these are the smaller cap. HRTG, this one's a little larger, 16 billion, just breaking out to new highs. Very strong stock. MCY, this one we had on our ready list a couple weeks ago. It broke out and it's gone, but just trending with its moving averages, making new highs. So that one looks good. And then TRUP, this is the pet insurance for your dogs and cats. This one's just running like a scalded dog, breaking out of the stage one base. Man, that looks good. The earnings line heading higher, the stock heading higher. It was up 11% last week, and then 9% last week, 11% the prior week, 13.5%, 3 weeks ago. So anyway, TRUP on a roll. All right, that's enough for the insurance. The housing, I got to get to one of my favorites besides retail, the drugs. Harrow is making new highs, and the biotechs have been pretty hot recently. Halo is another one that I like. It's got good fundamentals, and obviously the technicals trading above its 10 EMA, 4.5% above the 10. You can see the earnings line gradually heading north, the stock heading north. That looks all good. And then, of course, Lilly. People were asking, what's the matter with Lilly? It didn't go up. The market was up. Well, it was up 3.3%. This is a battleship, not a speedboat. This is one you invest in. I don't really trade it. I don't really even look at it that often unless there's news. But this one's going to go higher. It's got the earnings profile that we like. You can see that earnings line just heading due north. So yeah, big blue numbers expected. So the GLP-1s are hot. This is going to be a while. They have a patent on Mounjaro, I believe, till 2033, maybe. I don't know, about 10 years. So they're gonna kill it for a while. All right, I'm going to get off the drugs and go to the restaurant group was high, yesterday, not only due to PAL, but because of the CAVA report. This is Sweet Greens, straight up from the bottom, went sideways for a little bit, pulled back to the 10, and now what did it do? It found support and bounced 3 days in a row. 4%, 1.7%, 7.3%, bounce, bounce, bounce. And now it's by this old standard buy point, paint by numbers, 36.72. So, but on Friday it still is 9.4% above its 10. So be careful there. LOCO. Sometimes I think I'm going LOCO. El Pollo Loco Holdings making new highs. I don't know what's going on here. 490 restaurants. I used to see them in California, but I don't think we have any out here. We might. I don't dine at places like that, but man, this thing is strong. It's got to be a reason for that. Maybe some growth coming in here, or I don't know. It's one of these small cap stops, though, micro cap, right? 400 million, but it's doing well. I mean, it's making new highs. So I'm just showing you some strength. This is Wingstop. I believe Wingstop is a buy. Why? Because I just like saying stocks are buys. No, it broke above its downtrend line on Friday. I think it hits, if I do this right here, if I zoom in here, I think you can see this thing hit on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 down on its downtrend line. 3 is a legit downtrend line. This hit 6 and now popped on Friday. 5.3%. Football season starting. Yippee! And people are gonna watch football and eat wings. That's what we do in America. But anyway, I like it above 400. I wouldn't wait to the 431, but I don't like it below 400. And that large round number could be a problem. We'll have to wait and see. It was last time, it caused some resistance, and we're traded above it at 431, now below it, and now it's back above. So Wingstop, looks pretty good to me. All right, cybersecurity stocks. I mentioned that Palo Alto reported, and this is OneSpan. This one's making new highs, just showing you some strength here. That's all. Breaking out of this like a stage 2 base, with the earnings lines heading due north. So I like that. I like stocks making new highs. I like earnings line heading due north. CYBR, I had it on my ready list last week. It was a nothing burger. I'll probably put it on again this week. CrowdStrike is reporting this week, so that could impact this group, and probably will. Fortinet reported a couple weeks ago, reported 50% earnings growth, and this one is back near an old buy point here. This one looks pretty good. Nice elongated handle on that cup. So I'm watching Fortinet as well. The group is not that strong though. 130 out of 197. And I got to go to the hospital group. THC, one of my top 20 stocks, I believe. This one just keeps making new highs. The medical hospital group is strong. This is the strongest stock in a strong group. So THC making new highs, and I like new highs. So thank you very much. HCA Healthcare. Well, this one looks even better than THC, doesn't it? This earnings line's gradually going north. These are not NVDA or anything like that, but they're doing well managed, and reporting sales and earnings growth. So that's moving the stock. ARDT, medical hospital stock that's an IPO, just still in its IPO base. Just wanted to point that out, that this is one that could be a mover. The earnings were pretty good last time. So anyway, that's it for that group. I've got to go to just some tech names. Credo, got to mention this one, just acknowledging the strength here. UI is another one. Telecom infrastructure had a nice move on Friday of 10%, not to be ignored. And Arista Networks, I think this is still just consolidating here within a base, trading tight, trading sideways within a base. I really like that. So that could be on our ready list next week. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching. Obviously, a lot going on. And in honor of the great Steve Jobs, I just have one more thing. I wanted to go over some stocks that I like, that I have on the ready list at mcstockcharts.com. I'm just going to show a few, not all. I'm not going to give away all the secrets, but Shark Ninja forming this shelf pattern here, pulled back to its 10 on Friday. Would not be surprised if that bounce next week. We'll have to wait and see. I like it if it could trade above that high on Wednesday, which was 92.47. We'll have to wait and see on that. App11, a software name. I like this one. It came straight up from the bottom though. So maybe it'll handle out here and allow the moving averages to catch up. It's just another one that I'm watching. And then VST, this is an electric power play. Another one that broke above its downtrend line on Friday. You can see how many times it hits these, I think about four stops on the trend line there and broke above it last week. So I am watching this one. You can see it's just got this double bottom pattern above the moving averages. I wouldn't wait till 96. I'd be in there 83, 84. So we'll see what happens next week. Anyway, like I said, that's it. Except for one more lie. In honor of the great Steve Jobs, once again, NVIDIA reports earnings next week. This is the big kahuna. This is going to move the markets one way or the other because it's such a large, 3.1 trillion market cap. And this is going to, drive the semiconductors higher, drive them lower. It's going to affect Qualcomm, Broadcom, AMD, Cirrus, all those semiconductors are going to be sensitive to this earnings report. Also, Dell reports, and probably, they better have a good report, better than this negative 3% earnings growth. And this is going to impact, Supermicro and Vertiv and the hardware names. And the other one that's reporting that I'm watching is CrowdStrike that I mentioned. They might have some collateral damage from that goof that they had a while back. You can see it made that low of 200 here and then has rallied back up to 270, but we'll have to wait and see what they say on Wednesday. We have NVIDIA and CrowdStrike, and I believe CRM reporting on the same day. Yeah, the 28th. Salesforce, Dow Jones Component, 250 billion market cap. That's no small company, but we'll have to see what they say. And this will definitely affect the software group. So we have some real big earnings reports next week. Abercrombie and Fitch, not so much, below a 9 billion market cap, but we'll see what they have to say. I believe they're doing well. We'll just have to wait and see that the Hollister and Gilly Hicks brands, and that's on the same day. Wow. So Wednesday is going to be a big day for the market. And the last one is Foot Locker. And this is big for the shoe group. I know, you don't think of Foot Locker as being a big, it's a 3 billion market cap, but they sell, all the shoes there, the Crocs, I believe they sell the Hokas and the On Holdings, I believe, the Nikes, all the big shoes are Skechers. You can get them at Foot Locker. So it's very important what they have to say. You can see this consolidation here. The Foot Locker's had this, stage one base consolidating here. I wouldn't be surprised if this one broke out and finally, they have a new CEO and she's pretty sharp. It's got this pattern here. I don't know. Pulling back to its 10, that looks pretty good to me, but you're just gonna have to wait and see what they say on Wednesday, of course. So anyway, that is it for me for today. A lot of stuff going on. I'm gonna have some small cap, mid cap stocks at my site, mcstockcharts.com. Check us out. I think I'll have a free trial coming up pretty soon here for Labor Day. But anyway, at mcstockcharts.com, we never give up, ever. Have a great weekend.